Welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Thoughts. I am the host, Glasser Crossfield, and we're changing the world one podcast at a time. Please introduce yourself, you very special lady, you.
Oh, okay. Thanks. So that was quite an intro. I'm Yasmeen. I'm assuming, where did you find me? On TikTok?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so my TikTok name is Tits and Travel Tips, and I just post all about like my life, traveling, random things about the world, credit cards. And yeah, here we are. I'm excited to be here.
May I ask you where the name comes from? TikTok.
Everybody asked me this. Yeah, so for a really long time, like before TikTok was like kind of even a thing, I like had always been traveling and I really wanted to start a YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, I have so many great ideas, but like I don't have a name. I was like, what name should I choose? And one day I like went and I got like lip filler in my lips. And I was like, and then I was talking to a friend about like this YouTube channel. I was like, what should I call it? What should I call it? He was like, why don't you just call it like tits, lips, and travel tips? And I was like, like that's catchy. And he was like, yeah, and that's like so you. And I was like, okay. Then later that night, I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, like, how do you feel about this? And she was like, no. I was like, yeah, like, that's like too vulgar, right? She was like, no, it's just too long. Just call it tits and travel tips. And I was like, okay. Well, like, if my mom said it's okay, like, okay. So, yeah, here I am.
So okay, you're in Yemen right now, but where are you from originally? Like, give us a little insight on your upbringing.
I'm in Sweden, not Yemen.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought you were Yemenis. I'm sorry. So
No, 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 no. I'm in Sweden. Okay. So I'm just in Sweden, like, because I really like Sweden and I want to, like, live here. So I'm
mhm,
looking for a job. But I was born in Richmond, Virginia, grew up there,
mhm,
lived there my whole life. My mom is from Germany,
mhm.
and my dad is from Pakistan, but they met in college in Florida and then moved up to Virginia, like, later in life. And then eventually I was born. So,
That's an
yeah.
interesting love story.
Facts.
Oh, well, it didn't end out so well. They're getting a divorce. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah. No, it's okay. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal. But like, yeah. So and now I'm in Sweden.
What
Don't.
What did you want to do with your life after high school?
Well, I was dead set on going to Duke University. Like in high school, I was like, I'm going to Duke. If I don't go to Duke, I'm not going to college. Didn't get in. And then I had to go to my like home university. So like I was still living at home. It's called VCU. You might have heard of them. I don't know. But so I went there for a while, did miserable. I did not want to be living at home. Like I was just so upset with the world. I was like, oh, I hate this. And then I just started working all the time. Like I was working at Chipotle, I was working at Hooters like nonstop, literally like 80-hour weeks. And then I just dropped out of college and I was like, okay, like college isn't for me. And then I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I started TikToking and that started doing like decently well. And like now I freelance. So I like run TikTok accounts for like companies and stuff.
Nice.
Um, but like ideally I want to get a job in Sweden in like social media marketing, like influencer marketing, things like that. And so honestly, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I finished high school and I like failed a lot along the way, but I think about it and I'm like if I really wanted things to go the way I wanted them to go like I did in high school, I would never be here right now and I would have never come to Stockholm and I would have never done like what I've done and I've lived a very like fulfilling life. So I'm like, you know, it all worked out for a reason.
What does your family think about like what you do now? Because I know with parents that come from other countries, they want you to be a doctor, lawyer, make big money, and they wouldn't consider like things like media or music or stuff of that sort like a real job. How do they feel about that?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So I think for a lot of people, especially if they have like Asian parents, like stereotypically when you think of like the smartest people in your class you like think of people who are like from Asian backgrounds and my mom is actually that person like for me like my mom is like nope like you need to be a doctor you need to be doing this and this and I think finally now she's realized like that's not me But with my dad, I got really lucky because my dad owns like an IT company, and he is like, he's always just like, it doesn't matter what you do in life as long as you're making money and you're having like, and you enjoy it. And he's like one of those people where like he loves his work. I worked for him for a while, hated it. Like I'm just not passionate about selling Wi-Fi to people. He loves it. I don't. Like it's not my thing. So he's just kind of like, I mean, my dad just kind of thinks I'm a drifter, which like I am, but he's like, you know what? If you can do it and you're happy and you get a job, like go for it. So yeah.
What
My mom takes a little bit more convincing, but I mean,
what made you
here now.
what made you choose the lifestyle that you live today?
I think a lot of like, so I think my dad inspired me a lot. So growing up, because I have like family. So my parents are the only family I have in the US. I'm an only child too. So growing up, we would always go to like Germany to see my mom's family, and then we would like take a little trip like somewhere in Europe because everything is so close. And then like I would go see my dad's family sometimes, like in Pakistan. And then my parents split up like probably my senior year of high school. And my dad just started traveling so much. And like even now, like some of my friends will be like, oh, your dad's like a nomad. And I'm like, literally, he is. Like he like lives on planes half the time. And he just does it because like he wants to. And he's just kind of like, you know, you could die tomorrow. So just do what you want to do now. And I'm like, yeah, it's like true. So I was just like, you know what? I was really lucky because my mom is German. So I was able to get my German citizenship. And with that, I could like live anywhere in the EU. And Sweden like allows you to live here for 3 months while you're looking for a job. So I was like, I am in such a lucky position. Like I need to take advantage of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, here I am.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I just turned 24 on Monday.
Oh,
Wow.
you're a baby.
Am I really? I feel like I'm so old. Well, not, I just feel like my life is like passing by and I'm like, oh
Yeah,
no, like you know, like it's kind of sad because I like think about things and I'm like, things are never going to be like that ever again, you know?
yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's like sad sometimes. Like I'm like, oh, why am I so sad? Like even quarantine, like as much as I hated it in the moment, like I hung out with so many of my friends from high school and stuff who had like moved away and came back and like now everyone's gone again. But it was like, you know, that's never gonna happen again. But like during the time it was like kind of like a vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Even though it was bad, but like, yeah, it's just sad. But no, I'm glad. Another year of life, another, you know, trip around the sun.
Do
Just
you
grateful for it.
do you ever want to settle down one day?
Um, I don't know. I really don't know. I talk about this like with my friends a lot. Like I'm like, I really don't see myself like getting married or like having, I really want to adopt a kid at some point, like way down the line. Um, but I don't know. Like I think I like maybe just have like commitment issues. I don't know, because I'm like, what if I don't even like Sweden? Like, what if I don't like this? Like, I can't even commit to signing a lease because I'm like, I don't know. What if there's something better
Mhm.
out there? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
But
we all have
so
fear of missing out.
yes, yes. And I'm just also like, I think TikTok, like honestly, has changed a lot about the way I view things. Like I know like one of my like friends on TikTok, she is 37 years old. Well, she just turned 38. She's 38, has no kids. Like I know she's been trying to have kids, but like she just lives like a fantastic life. And like I feel like I'm like so scared of like getting older and stuff, but then I look at her and I'm like, she's out here like skiing every day, she's doing this. And she was like, you know, your 30s are just like your 20s but better because you have so much more money and like you know what you're doing with your life. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to give that up, you know? And I
How
feel like if I like settled down that would like hinder me, you know?
how does your family feel like that? Because I know, you said your father being Pakistani. I know they don't play that. Even Germans to an extent,
No.
they don't play that. You got to get married, have kids, settle down.
Yeah. Um, I think my dad is kind of at the point where like, so okay, without like getting too much into things, like
Mhm.
my dad is from Pakistan, but he's not like religious at all. But like growing up, like I didn't eat pork, like my dad doesn't drink. nothing like that. So like I remember once he told me, he was like, you know, it's really hard for me like as a parent to know that you drink, because like growing up nobody in my family drank, like, and I think my mom only didn't drink because of my dad, but she's not a big drinker either. Whereas I am like, oh, it's Tuesday, like let's celebrate life with like, you know, like vodka. But so I think like once he like kind of got over that and like realized that I'm like my own person, he's just kind of like okay with it. Like he's like, oh, you should settle down and you should do this. And I'm like, yeah, I should. But then he'll also be like, okay, like as long as you like have enough money to support yourself, like whatever. So yeah. My mom, on the other hand, was like, literally earlier today, she called me and she was like, have you started dating yet? And I was like, no. And she was like, well, you better start making millions, because if not, like you need to get in the game, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe one day. I just don't feel like dating. Like I don't feel like wasting my time. Also, men in Sweden like don't pay for your drinks or your dinner. So I'm like, what if I don't like you? And then I just like wasted my time, you know?
Don't do that, because that's meant because men have to do the paying out front, whether you waste our time or not. So
But they don't hear though.
I know, but I'm saying now it's even though. Now you feel me?
No, it's not, because I'm fun. Like I know I'm a good time, but like if you're boring, that's on you. Like I am fun.
But I heard like Sweden is actually like pretty egalitarian, like pretty
It is.
pretty equal.
Yeah. So like basically here, like so they have like paternity leave and maternity leave, and like you both have to take it or else you lose it. And I think they do that because like, you know, in the US and in other countries, like so many women like lose out on their careers for a couple months, you know, because you're like at home taking care of a baby. Whereas here it's like you have to stay home with the baby for like X amount of time and then the man does it. So it like makes things like a lot more equal. And like even like that they like everyone splits everything on a date, things like that. It's like very, very equal. And like when you go out, like in the US, like guys will come up to you and talk to you. Here it's like you kind of have to make the first move.
Interesting.
I mean,
yeah,
that's typically how it is overseas. Because I was in Germany for like 4 years, and like
oh
one of the
wow,
luxuries,
okay.
yeah, yeah, I was in Germany for like 4 years, but one of the, I think for me, like coming from America, one of the luxuries of being overseas is that you don't have to do much work. A lot of the women will come to you, will walk up to you, will talk to you.
I heard they're really direct, like really
Very direct.
Yeah, I think it definitely depends where you are. In Sweden, I could totally see that coming from a girl. And I think Germany might be the same way, how like things are like very level. Like girls here, they definitely take what they want. Um, but like if you go to France, like in France, it's like almost weird how like assertive like men are there. And like you can definitely see like the gender roles like way more in France, but like you'll never pay for anything as a girl in France, like ever. A guy would always pay for it, but then they're also like so direct to the point where I'm like, oh my god, like I can't believe you just said that to me. But like they don't even think it's like an insult. They're just like, oh yeah, like do you want to do this or not? Yeah.
Do you prefer the more egalitarian system, or you want a man to pay for your drinks?
So like politically, yeah, I prefer like an egalitarian system, but like day to day, like no, I want you to pay for my drinks.
So,
Like
a lot of women
thing
don't
is
know the trade-off. A lot of women don't know the trade-off.
yes, they don't, and I didn't either until I came to Sweden. And I talked about this to my dad the other day, and he was like, "You women are the worst." I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Because you want everything equal, but then you want a man to pay for your stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, like, exactly. That's exactly what I want." But yes, it is. But no, I did date. So for a long time, for like a year, I dated a guy in Sweden, and he lived like across the country from where I am now. And it was fair though, because I would pay to go see him. But whenever I was with him, like he would pay for like most of my stuff. It was like I never like demanded it or anything. And I don't mind, like one of my love languages is like, you know, buying people presents and like things that I know they would like. So it was, I never felt that way, but I also never felt like he like wasn't, you know, like he never like made me split the bill or something like that. But in general, if you're out, like, yeah,
So
you're
is
gonna
that a
have to
deal
pay.
breaker for you, splitting the bill or not letting you pay
No,
for?
no, it's not. But like, it's nice, everybody likes that. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like even like, I don't know, as a guy, I would like that too. Like, if a girl was like, "Hey, don't worry, I got it," I would be like, "Wow, that's so nice.
So,
Like,
so
thank you."
you wouldn't mind paying for the entire bill the first date, correct?
No, I would.
Mm.
The
Interesting.
entire bill. I know it's so
Interesting.
hypocritical, isn't
Yeah.
it? But it's just how it is. It's just how it is. I'm just gonna be honest.
I'm happy that you're admitting it though, because so many women push back on this idea, and a lot of men like we understand the game, we understand the rules, but women like to make their own rules. They like to take bits and parts of things and kind of make their own. It doesn't go that way. It's one or the other.
Right. But I also feel like it is a little bit more fair because as a woman, I truly feel like if a guy was like not at all attracted to you in the slightest, he wouldn't even look at you or like talk to you unless you guys were friends. Like you would never be at that date with him unless he was like remotely attracted to you. Whereas like as a girl, it's very common to see like a lot more attractive women with someone who's like not as attractive as they are, and I feel like we like have to spend so much money on like keeping up with appearances and like not like when a man gets older and he ages and has gray hair, like, oh, he can be a silver fox. Whereas like when a woman gets older and has gray hair, like she's expected to like dye it, and you have to like go to the gym, you have to do all these things. Well, men have to go to the gym too, but like you have to like keep up, like makeup costs money. And then people are like, oh, well, like you don't have to wear makeup. And it's like, okay, but I would
I want
assume
to.
that a guy would want you to be more attractive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I feel like in that sense, like it kind of is fair if guys pay because like we have to spend a lot of money on like, looking well. I feel like what does a guy have to do? You just have to shower, squirt some cologne on, and leave.
Well, we also have bills, so that's one thing.
But like, so do we.
No,
So do we.
initially in the dating scene, the man is typically to put forth a lot more effort. Initially, anyway.
You think so?
Yeah,
I know so. I know so. The
Okay,
man.
well, I also like don't date. So like
All right.
you're talking to the wrong person. Like I don't do dinner. I don't like no. Like I'm going to meet you at a bar and we're going to hit it off and I'm going to give you my number and like things are going to go from there, and if he likes me, I like him. We're going to keep the things going and I'll talk to them, but like I don't like I have been on dating apps, but I've never met anyone. I don't know. I'm like very content with like where I am, but also I really want to meet someone organically if I were to meet someone.
Got
And
you.
so
you
many
give
people
me.
are like, huh?
Go,
Sorry.
go ahead, my fault.
Oh, so many people are like, oh, like, do you think you're gonna meet your dream man at like a bar or club? And I'm like, I don't know, actually, but maybe because those are
Nah,
things I like to do. So like, why wouldn't he like to do that as
you're
well?
you're not. I'm sorry, you're not. Because 9 times out of 10,
Yeah.
a man is at a bar. He's looking for sex. More times
Let's
than
be honest here. Let's be honest.
Yeah, okay. So it's funny because I was talking to one of my guy friends about this the other day. And I was like, because my mom was like, if you meet a guy at a bar or club, he's not going to take you seriously, something like that. And I was like talking to my friend, and he was like, yeah, I think that's true. And I was like, okay, where would you like to meet a girl? He was like, I don't know, like ideally like a book signing. I was like, when was the last time? When was the first time you have ever been to a book signing? Like, please give me one time. He was like, okay, never. But like, that would be like the ideal like place you meet a girl.
book
I'm like, are
signing.
you kidding me?
A book signing. Well, online might be good, but you gotta really do like dig through her social media to see if she's worthy. In person or your friend through a friend of a friend.
Yep.
Definitely
Yeah.
depends. Something during the day, in person, ideally.
Right. But also like, I don't know. I don't know. I also like really enjoy going out and I like doing those things. So I'm like, why wouldn't a guy like who I like be there? Like, like if he also enjoys those things and that's what I like doing. But also, yeah, I mean, that's all they want. But I also feel like if you hold out for a bit, you can kind of like deter them. And if he likes you enough, it's like, okay, let's hang out during the day. And if
Wait,
he won't, then okay.
hold out. Hold out for what?
You're talking about the woman holdout, correct?
Yes.
Well,
Can you? What would be the
Okay.
holding out?
So like, listen. So let's say you're at a club, you meet a girl, you guys are both attracted to each other, you guys exchange numbers, and then you like obviously want her to go directly home with you, but she doesn't, and she's just like, hey, like, you know, she sends you a text, whatever. Me as a girl, I would totally do that, and then I'd be like, oh, we should hang out sometime. Then that gives him the liberty to, if he's gonna text me at 12 a.m., I know exactly what he wants. But if he like actually wants to get to know me, maybe he'll text me during the day and I'll be like, okay, we should like, you know, go get a drink at XYZ place at this time, you know.
So how many dates?
How many dates until you have sex?
Yeah.
Oh, I just do it when I
Okay.
am ready.
So
Well, I mean, I've definitely had like one night stands before, but like nowadays I don't do any, like I'm just like very boring these days. Like I go out and then I just like go home. But like, yeah,
you
that's
said
just
during
me.
the day, but what if I want to
Hmm?
get to know you at 12 midnight?
But what do you want at 12? Oh, okay. This is no. This is, see, you're acting like such a guy right now, and I'll tell you why. So in Sweden, this is such a big thing guys do. Like I told you guys how they're like a lot more shy here. Whereas like, okay, so what they'll do is they'll be like, oh, like let's go home and we'll just go to sleep. Like let's say I just meet some guy at a bar. And I'm like, no, like I know what you want. And then they turn it around on you. They're like, what do you mean you know what I want? I just want to go home and sleep with you. Like we can just cuddle. And I'm like, no. They're like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, oh my God, like maybe it's on me now. Like, why was I thinking about that?
it's classic.
Then you go home with them, and then they're like doing everything with you but that. And I'm like, okay, well, at this point, we might as well just do it. They're like, oh, okay, so you want to do this. Okay, fine. And it's like, wait, how did you just play me right now? Like, this
Genius.
has happened to me so many times. And I'm like,
Genius.
That's such a
okay.
classic move, man. Oh
Genius.
man.
Yep.
But
The issue in Sweden is every guy does it here.
holding out does 9 times out of 10 does not get you the kind of results that you want, because if he really
Yep.
likes you, whether you make him wait 3 hours or 90 days, he'll wait the 90 days and do what he got to do and leave. So the holding out really doesn't get you the kind of results a lot of women think it does.
Really? Because, okay, so with my ex, I met him through a friend of a friend, but like we all went out that night. And that's like when I like really met him. And this was when he was from Sweden, but I was still living in the US. And that night he did that same shit with me. Oh yeah, like I just want to go home and sleep with you, blah blah blah. And I knew his games because there was a guy I went to college with in Richmond who was from Sweden, and he did the same thing to me, and it caught me so off guard that the next morning I like woke up naked in his bed and I was like, wait, like how? Okay. Anyways, so also fun little side story on that. I hadn't seen him in 3 years, and I moved to Stockholm for like a fresh new start. The second I got here, he's in my DMs and he's like, oh, welcome to Stockholm. And I'm like, oh, thanks. He's like, oh, where do you live? We should hang out sometime. I'm like, okay. When does he only text me? At 3 a.m. or like, later? Anyway, so with my ex, like he came with me and I was like, okay, you know what? You said you wanted to sleep with me. You can sleep with me, but like, that's it. And obviously he like tried to have sex with me, but I was like, no. And then, yeah, after that I left and he was like, I'm probably never going to see you again. And I was like, no, like I was like, I literally go wherever I want to. Like, I was like, I'll be back. And then we just started talking. Like we would like text all the time. And then one day I like went to a bar. My friend was bartending and I was like kind of drunk. And I was like, should I just call him? And she was like, yeah, who cares? Like he lives in Sweden. Like the worst thing is like whatever. And then he answered, and then we just talked for hours and hours. And like a month later, I went to go see him, and he was like the only person I've ever had real feelings for. And like I know he had them for me too. And I feel like that only happened because I waited and I made him like get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
Would you
I
consider
feel like
yourself
men like need
spiritual?
an incentive. Sorry.
Thanks. Would you consider yourself spiritual?
So I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. Yeah.
How did I know, man? Wow. Okay.
I'm like the biggest, like, okay, so I've like really been trying to get a job here. And
Manifest?
so many. Yes. So here's the craziest thing, and this is why I'm about to go off on another tangent. This is why I believe in manifestation, because September through December, I was in Stockholm and I was just here for 2 months, but I was like, let me see how much I like it, blah, blah, blah. And every night I would like write down things I wanted to do. Like I was like, I want to run a TikTok account for a brand. Or I was like, I am certain that blah, blah, blah. I am certain that this, and this. And now that I'm here, almost every single thing that I wanted like has happened. And it's just like, do I think manifestation works just because you write it down? No, but I think it kind of works in the sense that you have to like go back to your goals, and that makes you
It
like
leads
work
you
harder
almost?
every day. I'm sorry.
It leads you almost?
It leads you, yeah. And I think the thing is you keep remembering your goals, so therefore you work to make things happen, to make them happen, you know? And like, I don't know, like I really want this. I want one specific job at one specific company. And if I don't get a job with them, I don't want a job. Like this is literally like I have 2 friends that work there, and I like just applied like the other day, and I sent them my cover letter and they were like, this is so good, like send it. And I was like, should I just walk in there with my resume and my cover letter? Because nobody would do that in Sweden. Like that's like Swedish people are very reserved. Like they're really nice if you make an effort, but they're like very reserved. And they were like, oh, that's a power move. Like you should do it. And I'm going to do it tomorrow. And
You should.
if it fails, it fails. But if not, like, okay, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should do it, most definitely.